Welcome. It's amazing how the conversation we have inside our own heads can literally shape our entire world. Today, we're going to dive in to how you can talk yourself into a win, even when it feels like you're up against something impossible. So, let's get right into it.
Haven't we all been there? You're just staring at a problem that feels absolutely huge, what some might call an insoluble problem or an incurable disease. It's that moment when the challenge just seems so big, so heavy, you honestly have no idea how you're ever going to get past it.
And right then, in that moment, we do this little internal math problem, don't we? On one side, you have all your human liabilities, the fear, the doubt, the confusion, the weakness. And on the other, your spiritual assets. And man, sometimes it feels like the scales are just hopelessly tipped toward the negative. It feels like a losing battle before you even start.
But what if we're looking at this whole thing the wrong way? What if the answer isn't to try and muster up some huge, superhuman amount of faith to fight a huge problem? That's the myth we're going to tackle right now. This is where some incredible wisdom really changes the game. Jesus said that to move a sycamore tree, which is a huge obstacle, you don't need a mountain of faith. Nope. All you need is faith the size of a tiny little mustard seed. And this completely flips our expectations on their head. It means that even a little bit of faith can get enormous results. So how does that even work?
Well, here's the secret. The mustard seed isn't about quantity, it's all about quality. It stands for a type of faith that is super focused, pure, and undiluted. It's a mindset that consciously decides to ignore how bad the problem looks on the outside, and instead, it magnifies the good. It magnifies God. It's an amazing idea, right? When you focus on that one tiny seed of good, you can set off an avalanche of positive change.
Okay, so if it's about the quality of our faith and not the amount, then we really need to know what that quality looks like. What is this real, powerful faith that can actually move mountains in our lives?
And we're given this fantastic definition. Faith isn't just wishful thinking. It's not just an idea you hold in your head. It's the consciousness, the active living awareness of the power of God that is already inside you, just waiting to act on your life and your surroundings. It's all about tuning into that power.
So let's get practical. How do we actually do this? Well, it builds into a really clear framework. We're going to look at a simple 3-step faith workout that you can start using today to turn any bad situation into a good one. Here are the steps. First, you have to get crystal clear. Decide exactly what good thing you want to see happen. Second, and this is key, you have to consciously shift your thinking. Stop letting your mind camp out on the problem and start mentally living in the good outcome you want. And third, you actively exercise your faith toward that good.
And that third step is where the real work and the real magic happens. This might mean you have to say, I have faith 100 times a day. You say it especially when you feel doubt creeping in. You say it when it looks like every single door is closed. You keep saying it until you have stirred up that inner power and it starts to move things in your life. It's an active, vocal, persistent choice.
Now, there's one final principle that everything else rests on. It's what really ignites your faith and makes it work, and it's known as the law of prayer.
The foundation for this law is just plain logical. Think about it. God is omniscient. He already knows exactly what you need. God is omnipresent. He is right here with you right now, ready to help. And God is omnipotent. He has the power to do absolutely anything. When you really let those three truths sink in, trusting the process becomes so much easier.
And that brings us to the core principle. This right here is the source, the center, the absolute essence of faith. The key is not to believe you will receive it someday. The key is to believe you have already received it. You have to assume the prayer is answered before you ever see the proof. It's a conscious acceptance that paves the way for the good to show up in your life. So what's the big takeaway here? It all comes down to this single declaration. Your real power isn't in how big your faith is, but in its quality, in your conscious connection to the power that is already inside you. So let me just leave you with this thought. What if the answer to your biggest problem isn't out there somewhere? What if it's just waiting to be activated by the conversation you choose to have with yourself, starting right now?